Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. How are you all tonight? We're glad to have you here, whether you're watching us on the podcast live or if you're listening to us on the podcast. We're glad that you decided to come in and join the audience. For those of you that tried to get in last week, you know that we had a little bit of trouble, but it looks like everything is working and everybody is able to get in to all of the different venues that we're on. In those of you who are listening to the podcast, you didn't see what our beginning intro was, and we are brought to you by WLFEDB.com, and we're on the Variety Unlimited channel of that radio station. There's also an LGBTQ Friends channel and a Paranormal View channel. And I see that Tori is in the house.
Tori's in the house.
Tori Gates.
Hey, Tori.
Hello, Tori. We're so glad to have you here. Are you still freezing in Maine, or have you come down further south?
Want to remind everybody about Episode Rewind, all the replays of every Saturday, 5:30 p.m. We feature another past episode right here, right where you're watching right now. You can see it. Rochester, New York, Winter Parafest coming up soon, March 25th to 27th. Fundraiser for Veterans Outreach, rochesterparafest.org for more info. We'll have a little film at the end that's going to tell who the guests are.
It's a commercial, really.
It is a commercial, yes, that's true.
Joe Conjal says, hi, Rob and Joan. Hi, Joe.
Hey,
How
Joe.
are you doing? And Marjorie Daring says, hi. Boy, you're bright and early tonight, Marjorie.
There you go.
That's
and
cool.
Joe, you didn't have to work, so that's even better.
Yeah, that's awesome, Joe.
So coming up next week, you got to tune in. We're going to have our first anniversary show, and we're going to have a bunch of giveaways, merchandise, and books. We have 5 authors we're featuring, and it's going to be a good time for all.
It really is.
It will. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to it. March 23rd, then.
I'll hear you guys.
We have a crossover event with Voice of Indie podcast. So it's Meet the Author podcast and Voice of Indie podcast with Gary Stephen Gies and Beam Weeks. And that's going to be fun. Then April 6th is the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles reveal.
That's going to be fun,
which is going to be awesome.
That is going to be fun,
and
too.
The first 3 authors in that anthology are going to be revealing what this is all about. So there's going to be more about that in the weeks to come.
So Tori says he's back in Pennsylvania, and it's still
cold in Pennsylvania.
And Marjorie Daring said she's in early for a change.
There you go. So tonight's guest.
Appreciate you coming whether you come early or late.
That is true. We do. We appreciate all you guys here. So tonight's guest is multi-genre author and writing coach, Larry YOKE. And so we want to welcome the author of the Detective Gloria Ramos series. And that would be Mr. Larry Yokes. Come on in, Larry.
Hi, Larry.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, we're glad to have you. Thanks for accepting the invitation. We're glad you could be here on time.
And we know you're not freezing over in St. Pete, so
right across the bay from you.
There you go. Oh, there's Caleb.
Look at Caleb Pirtle's in the house.
Hey, Caleb.
Hi, Caleb. I'm not sure if they're still cold in Texas, but
I think they might be
warmed up here.
Getting another wave coming through or something. I thought I saw on TV.
That's not good.
Oh, well. So, Larry, how'd you get started writing? What brought you into the writing realm?
Well, I'll tell you, I started when I was 9 years old. And I had this cute little girl. I wanted to woo, right? I want to get to be her friend and this. And so I wrote her a poem. And it worked. It worked. And I said, well, that's pretty cool. I
That's
like
encouraging. So that was a good review.
it. Encouraged me. And I mean, I kept writing after. I really did keep writing after that. And when I got into my teens, I picked up guitar, electric, acoustic guitar, and I started putting my words to music.
Oh.
Yeah. And I did that for many, many years, many decades, actually. And then I stopped doing all that. And probably 2006 is when I wrote my first book. I had this story. It's just driving me nuts. And I didn't understand it. I really didn't understand it. And I said, well, because all these years I wrote poetry, I felt better if I wrote about certain things, right? Things that troubled me. I said, well, screw it. I'm just going to sit down and write this as much as I can of this book. And I couldn't believe it. 200 pages later, I was done.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
Joe Conchel says, thank God you no longer have to deal with temperatures in the 70s.
I know, it's terrible. It's terrible. It really is.
It did. It got up
It's
in the
awful.
80s today.
It's off cold wave.
And Stephen G said, good to meet author Larry Yoke.
Thank you.
We're starting to get a few. Let's see, he's on YouTube, and we have one of the comments was from LinkedIn. So welcome, LinkedIn people, because
Tori's on LinkedIn.
Yeah, they were having trouble with their comments.
Yep, I'm glad to see you can comment, Tori. That's really good. And there's, of course, a bunch of Facebook.
Of course. Well, let's talk about the Detective Gloria Ramos series. First book in that.
I'm getting it.
Well, this first book here, this is based on my sister-in-law's best friend who was murdered up in Illinois.
Wow.
And it was a ghastly murder. And that's probably why it bothered me so much. And because it hit close to home, and I knew a lot of the details, obviously. And a lot of the characters that were in the real part of the crime. And so I said, well, okay, so I did this. And I created like a puzzle. That's why you got a puzzle on the cover.
Yeah.
Very clever cover. I like that.
And the name is Possum Kingdom. For those of you that are listening and not watching, it's Possum Kingdom by Larry Yoke. That's the first in the series.
So it's based on a true story.
It's based on a true story. But Possum Kingdom is a lake just outside of Fort Worth. So I love that area. I said, well, I'll just put the murder there. I'll make it happen there and use that as my scene, my base. But I took the murder of my sister-in-law's best friend and I just put it in the book. And the problem with that is the real story has not ever been solved.
Oh, that's really hard for family and friends, isn't it?
Yeah, because the nature of that thing was awful. And if you read my book, you understand.
Uh-huh.
It was bad, and horrible bad stuff. But in my book, I had to close it. I had to close it up somehow. So I made somebody up that actually did it. So,
okay.
So
has a fiction ending.
Has a fiction ending.
Has those
American good. Yeah. And that was the beginning of your series then. That was the impetus that started you writing your first book.
Yeah, the main character, Gloria Ramos, actually is introduced in this book.
Okay.
And I have 4 books now with Gloria. I'm writing a 5th one. And I'm not sure where it's going to stop. Yeah, but why?
You can see Caleb says, I live about 30 miles from Possum Kingdom.
Oh, see, there you go.
Beautiful lake and filled with legend and mysteries.
And hopefully Caleb didn't do it.
Caleb didn't do it.
Just kidding.
And Diamond DeGreer says greetings, and she's also on LinkedIn. She was the
Yeah.
first one to be able to.
Yeah. Diamond, it's great to
comment
have you back
from
again.
LinkedIn, yeah.
And to throw another interesting wrench into the works, there's a scene in there. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but there's a scene in there that actually happened across the street from my house.
Okay.
Really?
Yes, this lady killed her husband,
Wow.
buried in the backyard, and paved a patio over him.
Oh, my
No.
Yes, that really
way.
truly happened too. And I thought, this is crazy stuff. I mean, I can't make this stuff up, right?
No.
Well, we live in Florida. It's
Yeah.
nothing but crazy stuff here.
Every day is crazy. Yeah. Every day is crazy. You never know what to expect.
Did you hear about
exactly.
murder here? Did you hear about the murder here in Riverview last night that ended up in Ellington?
No.
Yeah. A guy from Riverview chased after his wife. She was in her car and he was in his. He stopped her at MLK, shot her, pulled her out of the car, put him in his car, and the sheriff from Hillsborough and Manatee then started the chase because he went all the way up to Ellington to the outlet malls, and that's where it ended. They caught him. I think he killed him.
He killed himself.
He murdered her and killed himself.
But no, she's not dead.
Oh, she's not.
Seriously injured, several gunshots.
Ooh, thank you, God. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. But that's right here in Riverview where we live. It's
I mean, this stuff happens all the time. And all my books have a real heavy sense of reality because I take things I see on TV and read about and people tell me about. They're real, true life adventures. And those are right on my books.
Plenty of resources, right?
Yeah.
George says, I'm here.
It's there for the taking. And
Right.
George says he's here, better late than never, fighting gout. George, if you, I don't know if you were here, but George is also from Texas, so I want him to see this book cover. Larry wrote this story. It's based on truth, a murder that did take place, and he put it in Possum Kingdom because he likes that late.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Go ahead. Just a little.
And every book has a different adventure for Gloria Ramos. And the next one is called Broke Girl.
Yeah, we'll put that up.
Yeah, that one, Broke Girl, and she joins this raid on a group of cartel members. Again, outside of Fort Worth. This is true. This really happened too. And they came in there and they found all these. They actually tore the walls down, and they found all these dead bodies in the walls. Like, it was awful.
Where did that happen?
Near Fort Worth?
Near Fort Worth?
Just outside of Fort Worth. Yes.
Okay.
And,
these Texas things, I don't know. Texas people.
That's kind of, back then I lived there, so all this stuff happened all the time. Okay, so I put that in there, that story. But then I created this kid, a little boy, who happened to be there. He was an immigrant, he crossed the Rio Grande, made all the way up to Texas. And that's back when things were being negatively talked about, immigrants from Mexico. And that's part of that too, this book. And I do talk about a lot of that immigration, my position on it. But she bonds with this boy, and he runs away. And then they find out that the cartel is after the little boy. The little boy was there at that house. So she goes down to Mexico, right, to help him survive, basically. And that the adventure just keeps rolling along. So,
well, here Joe Conjal says, "Great cover."
Oh, thank you.
And Marjorie Deering. Well, let's see if I can get that up.
Look out. There you go.
Sorry, but YouTube is annoying me. And
Gmail notification.
And Marjorie Deering is saying both great covers.
Yeah, those I chose off of a website from a lady that makes covers. They just fit so well to my.
Yeah, I know they are perfect.
Yeah, they're perfect.
Oh, because Broke Girl, she looks
Broken.
broken. Her
Broken,
face is
yeah.
all broken up. That's
Oh yeah, that was just a play.
That's
It's
amazing.
a metaphor. The whole thing's a metaphor, but
That's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Now, George says, the news from Houston each morning is nothing but a body count. Nadine and I make bets on how many murders there were in the past 12 hours. Pretty much the way it is here in Florida, too.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as Chicago.
No.
Chicago, I think, the kill place of the world. So
Shirley Richmond Michael says, great show. Thanks. Thank you, Shirley. Yeah, Rob is from Chicago.
Yeah.
That's his kind of town.
My
The murder
kind of town.
capital of the world.
Murder capital, yes. A lot of wind there.
Yeah, there was a lot of wind.
We've had a lot of wind here lately. Crazy.
Okay. So yeah, see how on her
it fits perfectly.
Yeah. And you got that off of a website? What website were you in? Because
there's a website that they portray probably 30 different designers, and you can go down every designer. I mean, you can look at tens of thousands of book covers.
Wow.
If you don't see one you like, they'll make one for you. And
awesome.
They're relatively cheap. I paid about $35, $45 for each one of those.
Wow. And it's all prepped and ready to go for your
yeah. I mean, they're made for ebook and a printed book.
Wow.
That's a deal. I mean, I told people that. I said, man, do it yourself.
Do you remember?
So they do the binding and they do the back and everything?
Yeah, they do the cover, they do the spine, they call the spine, and then the cover, you get put in your own data. But they'll put together, they'll format the
That's amazing. Do you remember the name of the website?
I really don't at the moment. I know I bought off of Betty, BETI, Betty.com.
Oh, okay.
I bought one off of her. In fact, the next one we'll talk about, Little Birds. That one's from her.
Let's say hello to Chanel. Hi, Chanel. How are you? Hope you're doing well. We've missed you.
Yes.
Hope you're feeling good. I don't know if she saw these covers, so I'm going to put them up because Chanel loves covers. Here you go.
Possum
Kingdom. That's his first book. I don't know if you were listening.
For those that are listening, it's puzzle pieces. Some of them are together and some of them are not. And there's one missing in the middle, and it's got like red silk
or satin
material behind it. So it really is outstanding.
Broke Girl has a beautiful girl's face, but it looks broken. There are lines going through it that
just kind of makes her look fractured. Yeah.
We haven't. Here, let me take down the brand. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the book cover designer is that they have multiple designers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a blanket website out there, and once you get on that
cover designer, great.
Caleb said he uses the book cover designer.
Yeah.
And let's see. Chanel says, today's a good day, and I was listening while driving. I am ordering his books here in a few.
Wow.
Oh, Chanel, that's awesome. But if you want to wait a minute.
After the commercial, we'll have our giveaway.
We'll have the giveaway, and you can set your little fingers to type in and get the first book for free.
Right.
But that's wonderful.
And he wants to talk about the third book is Little Birds.
I'm going to bring
let's talk about Insentient. Little Birds will be coming out next month.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah.
This is Insentient. And this is also Gloria Ramos. And this is more about how her father, when she was a little girl, she went to bed with her sister, and her mother came upstairs and said, "Get in the closet now." That's where it starts.
Well, that's scary.
They heard some big bangs, and people killed their parents, her sister's parents. So now she has She wants to figure out what happened.
So if you're looking to get cheered up, it might not be the one you want to buy.
I don't know.
Oh no, this one's really cool because it starts in Central America.
Okay.
And then works his way up to
really
Honduras and all that.
He was
just joking.
kidding.
Yeah.
It
sounds like it's great.
It's a good grabbing
It
first
is.
chapter to
That's for sure.
have
I
that.
always travel in my books. I always find different because I've been so many places around the world. I can zone in on those places and I can put them in my books.
You sound like George Dismukes. He's been all over the place too.
So
all over his life.
In there, and I can make it real logical and make it all fit together like that.
That helps.
It is a puzzle. A book is a puzzle.
Yeah.
Every book I do is a puzzle. But the cover on the Sentient, that is the picture. It's a painting of a lady. She's a multi award-winning artist, and this painting is hanging in the South Korea Museum of Art. This painting of this cover.
It's beautiful.
She says, use it. She said, I love your poetry. You know, we collaborate a lot with her paintings and my poetry.
Oh, nice.
Great.
Yeah. So she said, use that. And I did.
Awesome. Well, we've got another comment here. Oh, George says, what part of Honduras?
Read the book.
George
used to live
there. And
okay.
He has three books written about that take place in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that part of it, I went on the map and I just started picking out cities. I know it's got mountains and stuff, and that's how I ran it. The father hid in the mountains from the army and other bad people, so I used all that.
Yeah,
it's a action drama thing, and it leads up to modern days where she learns all the truth of this. What happened to her father, and how her father met her mother, and she finds out who actually kills the parents.
Okay, so it starts with get in the closet, and then there's a journey.
Right.
Oh. Another county heard from.
Neighbors.
That's fine. Fur buddies are accepted. Yeah, fur buddies are accepted. The next one in the series is Little Birds. That one's not out yet, but that's the cover for it.
There we go.
That's the cover for it. Little Birds. And it's about the innocent are caught up in a nest of corruption.
In a nest of corruption. Little
This
bird.
is about human trafficking. This one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Little Birds.
Well, that's relevant today, isn't it?
Yeah, very relative. It's based on a case up in South Dakota, this book.
Oh, is it?
Yes. This guy.
We're hearing
about it. He had a rancher. He had 3,600 acres. I mean, a huge thing. And his father was a goofball. He would kidnap women, and so the son naturally joined that thing too. So yeah.
Sorry. George says most of the mountains are down.
That was it. That was where it was. Take it where that I can't pronounce that word.
Around Tegucigalpa.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That should be in my book. So yeah, I just
wants to know if we got another delivery. Not us. One of the neighbors.
The truck is still out there.
The truck is out there, and we're hearing doors slam and stuff.
I think he's rearranging his truck. It's that time of day when they have enough room that they can rearrange them, and they managed to stop in front of our house.
And they do all the time, and she just hates them.
Yeah, she knows the sound of their engines.
Anyway,
I do write other types of books, multi-genre. So those are crime novels or thrillers, whatever you want to call them.
Here's one. Second
that
Chances.
one. this was really personal.
Uh-huh.
And this one is basically about my life when I was young.
Really? A tale of guns, drugs, and love.
Yeah, well, you got to start somewhere.
All right.
Yeah, but it's
That's interesting.
There's a happy ending again on that, but it all turned out. That was me. It's all turned out, but it's modeled after my. It's not really me. There's Hunter O'Connor is my alter ego, and he's in 2 books now. He's going to have a 3rd book. The one I was talking about the other day, Catfish Plantation.
Right.
That's going to be Hunter O'Connor's 3rd book.
All right.
Okay.
We'll bring that up in a minute. But right now, Chanel wants to know, are you a night rider or a day rider?
I am morning. I'm a morning person. True blue.
Day rider. And George says, LOL, canine editorial. Yeah.
That's for sure.
Our little editor. And Joe Conjal says, do you base all your books on real events? That's a
yes,
really
I
good
do.
question.
I really do. Yeah. And I put pieces in there that are real, and I find a way to connect it all.
Uh-huh.
So pretty much
you fictionalize.
That's how I do it.
Yeah, because if we go back to this book, let me see. I've got to get back there. To Possum Kingdom, you had to fictionalize the ending because
it wasn't real.
It's an unsolved murder.
This is the way I wished happened. This is the way I wanted to happen.
Yeah.
To solve it. I actually did dig into the real case, and the Illinois Police Department shut me out just like that. You got no business digging into this case at all.
How did you know this girl who was?
My sister-in-law's best friend. My wife's sister. Yeah.
It was her best friend.
Her best friend.
That must have been awful for your sister-in-law.
Yeah, she's still, because they were best friends, and they grew up together, and they were high school together, and they, I think this happened in their mid to late 20s, maybe.
Oh,
they spent a lot of time together and parties, and girl things, and they did a lot of traveling together and such, and she came missing. That was it. And then they found her in the Green River over in Illinois somewhere, Green River.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really sad. But they never found who did it.
No.
Yeah.
They questioned the husband because the husband was always the first one, right? But they questioned him many times, and they let him go.
Well, we need to give our sponsors a chance to sponsor. So we'll talk about a couple more of your books when we come back and have your book giveaway. So nobody go away.
Yeah.
Stick around.
So now get ready.
Yeah. And let me get ready too. All right. Let's see. All right. See you in a minute.
Dear Lord, she's still alive.
Who's still alive?
Maris, that's who.
Come on, Angie, that's impossible.
Impossible or not, she's still alive, I tell you. She killed that boatload of people, and she's just getting started. There's no limit to what she will do.
It's not easy to kill a siren. It takes a formula and a plan. Siren Song 2 is the spellbinding sequel to Siren Song. Both novels by George Dismukes.
Siren Song 2 will be on bookshelves and bookseller websites in July. Don't miss it.
People who like to read want to get their hands on books by Becca Jones.
Becca Jones, the breakthrough author who tells it like it is. It takes courage to tell a story when it reveals dark secrets. Becca Jones delves deep into the hidden world of sexual abuse. She tells what happened and also tells how she survived.
Meant to Be is much more than just entertaining. Meant to Be gives you a point of reference, hope to cling to, and becomes a guide for survival if you have suffered the same thing. Meant to Be, Becca Jones, a must-have.
Meant to Be is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Behold, this one about a man, a woman, a black jaguar, and an ancient Maya legend. Two Faces of the Jaguar is a novel by George Dismukes that will take you deep into the jungle and capture your imagination until the last word. Two Faces of the Jaguar is book one of a trilogy. Two Faces of the Jaguar, where only the adventurous dare to read.
Two Faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and The Jaguar's Quest are available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Two Faces of the Jaguar, the book people are talking about. Get your copy today.
We're back.
We're back.
And Chanel says, I'm ready.
I'm ready too.
Well, first of all, let me tell people how they can reach you. And then after I do all that, you know how we do this, Chanel. Then we'll get to the book giveaway. So if you want to get in touch with him, you can go to his website, and it's YOKELD, that's YOKELD 7.wixsite, WIXSITE.com/website -1. Or you can find him on Facebook, Larry Yoke, LARRYYOKE. That's a simple one. Twitter is @Larry Yoke. Instagram is LarryYoke76. And email is YOKELD7@verizon.net. All right. So let's get right to the book giveaway.
All right. The book giveaway is the first 3 people to email YOKELD7@verizon.net will win an ebook copy of Possum Kingdom. Sounds good. Sounds good. Get those typing fingers going.
So the first 3 people to email will win an ebook copy of Possum Kingdom. There you go. So hurry on up. Now, where did we leave off? We left off with, let me think.
Little birds. And we came up with second chances. Second chances where we left off.
Okay. Let me get your brand up here. Little birds. Oh, yeah. Second chances. And you had just said this was based on your life. And I said,
this is more an adult fiction than a crime.
Okay. All
Although
right.
there's a little bit of crime in there.
Well,
it's really more of a love story, believe it or not.
And that's if you're going to admit to the crimes.
of course, this is a tale of guns, drugs, and love. So I kind of thought there might be a little bit of crime in there anyway.
A little bit of crime, a lot of love, a little bit of crime. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
that
then
was back in the day. My hair was down to my waist and my beard was down. Yeah.
Wow, that was long.
That time period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had long hair too. My dad used to call him Prince Charming. Not in a nice way.
I was pretty charming, though, I must admit.
This uncle I was telling you about that has to remain quiet.
Anonymous.
Anonymous.
Sorry, yeah, he called me a flower child.
Yeah.
He said, "A blooming idiot."
Ooh,
Blooming idiot.
ouch.
Wow. Yikes. Oh,
But that was his political statement on that one. But you know, he took me in. His minister's family. He took me in and straightened me around. So,
well, that was good.
so we
Mel said sent.
sounds good.
All right, now we have to block somebody. You'd think they get tired. We never post what they say, so it's like
We have trolls.
get over it.
Oh, those guys promoted on.
Yeah. So, all right, then we came to Crossing Rivers.
This is a sequel to that book.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Hunter O'Connor. This is actually based on my mother's and father's family. It goes back to 1929 to present time, well, to 2016. My mother passed 2016. I wrote it in 2017, 2018. And it's based on, because we didn't really know much about her family. And after she passed, we got going through her belongings. And I found all kinds of stuff in this chest, photographs and writings about stuff way back in the 20s and 30s and 40s. And I found her marriage license. I come to find out we lived in Davenport, Iowa. It was not too far from Chicago. My mother was born in a town just north of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Oh. And my father was born just south of Oklahoma City. They didn't know that at that time. They didn't meet until they both got to Davenport, Iowa, and met at the Iowa State Fair. That's how they met.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Wow. It was a cool idea.
George says, at least Larry has hair. My head looks like a landing strip for hummingbirds.
Oh, that's one of my characters in Little Birds. Hummingbird.
Hummingbird. Yeah. Oh, dear. They don't land, though, do they?
No, they don't.
Just saying.
They're flighty and they're
okay. So Crossing Rivers is
this is more of a historical family saga because it does travel through lives, and I did get to talk to some of my aunts before they passed. My uncle, the writer, is the only one left that whole entire family. And if you give me a little bit more insight, that's why I'm writing this book, and give me some insight. And I actually got his story in there, how he met his wife, which is interesting too.
Okay, so Joe Conja wants to know, do you outline your entire stories ahead of them, or are you a pantser?
What's a pantser?
Pantser? It's flying by the seat of your pants.
That's me.
You don't outline.
I have these stories I pull out of the newspapers or whatever, and I kind of lay those out in front of me. And I said, okay, what's the best way to get from point A to point B to point C to point D? I do outline, but it's in my head. There's nothing on writing, so I just create it out of my brain, out of my mind.
Yeah.
People don't understand. People don't get how I do that. I don't either. I don't get how I do it either.
Well, we're pantsers. That's the way we write. We don't have outlines.
It's very creative that way. I'm not stuck to a idea. I can change ideas.
Well, every once in a while we have to go back and put a timeline in so that we make sure we got everybody in the right order.
Yeah. I think you have to do that.
Just every once in a
while. Yeah. And I know Caleb's wife is definitely an outliner and, does all of her research and outlining like that. And I think Caleb is kind of a little bit of both, if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong. I just remember about his wife because she used to be a school principal, so that makes sense, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, we fly by the seat of our pants too. And some people need to know the ending of a book before they can start the book, and that's the way that they write. And some people don't know what the ending is going to be.
It varies with me. I have an idea of beginning sometimes I have an idea of the middle, sometimes of the end, and I got to work that way.
Yeah.
To make it, to work it out, to make it happen. But it's just to me, it's fascinating because I don't stick to one idea, one train of thought. I just, whatever pops up, I work with that. And
okay, this is a good question, and one that I believe completely. George says, question, every author I have seen interviewed says that at a certain point, their characters come to life and take off in a direction of their own. Same with you, or no?
Well, it's like this. I kind of joke about this. My characters tell me what to do and what to say.
Yep.
I just write it down.
Yep.
There you go.
And I get people say, "Oh, that's weird." No, it's not weird at all.
No.
I said,
You won't have an author tell you it's weird. An author is going to go, yep.
Yeah, exactly. I said, yeah, because they've been there, done that. So it's, yeah, they tell me what to write and how they want to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And, the emotion, you got to get to the emotion of them and the mind of them. And, if it's raining or, whatever, it's got to get into that.
Well, I think sometimes too, when you're writing, you've decided, well, this is the path that I'm going to go on. And your characters say, no, we wouldn't do that. That's not where we're going. And George says, see, there it is. Thank you. Yeah. They are real, right, George? They're real people.
Yeah, they are.
They have minds of their own. And
I think George has a Jaguar sitting in his living room right now.
Yeah.
I would bet on that.
And I know if Trish Pipkins were here, she'd say, and she wants it.
Yeah.
Oh, mercy.
She's read all of his books and she wants his Jaguar for real.
Then we have a poetry book to talk about too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Let's get into your poetry here real quick. Word paintings. And this is some of your poems, Larry Yoke, and some of Charlotte Nystrom.
Yeah, I'm more the avant-garde crazy guy, and I write about anything. Nothing. Everything's on the table. For her, it's more romance and the sea and that kind of stuff. And I'm more political and In fact, I have a poem about guns, flowers in the guns, and all these mass killings we've already had. And I came up. I goes, well, people says just get rid of the gun. Well, I said it's too late. There's so many guns. There's tens of millions of guns in this country. There's no way you can get rid of the guns. If you try to take them away, they're going to go, no, you can't. They'll fight you for it. But we don't want that either. I said, that's the idea is the only sensible solution is to put flowers in the gun, not bullets.
There you go.
Well, poetry is a good way to express your feelings, I think.
Yeah.
It is. It really, truly is. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Whether you're angry or sad or brokenhearted or, happy or whatever you're feeling.
Write humor a lot. I got a lot of humorous stuff. I got a lot of serious stuff. I got a lot of inspirational stuff, motivational stuff. I mean, people resonate with that kind of work, and I get a lot of people want me to coach them because I am inspirational, I am motivational, and I have a lot going, I guess, and they want part of that. They want to learn from somebody that's been through a lot of the stuff I've been through.
So where do you do your coaching?
I mostly on social media. They always write to me. There's a direct message aspect to, instead of being a public forum, you can take it offline and talk to them on direct messaging, which I do a lot, or email. they email me, and because I prefer that because I can just type away on that and give them itemized criteria.
So anybody that's listening that needs coaching that would like some advice from Larry, go ahead and email him. He'll welcome those emails.
And George says there aren't too many guns. There are too many idiots that have them. Amen. There are a bunch of idiots out there. If you had to pick a favorite book or poem that you've written, what would it be? Joe Conja wants to know that.
I was just telling you that one. I have this book right here.
It's not showing up.
It's not showing up
because of my
house,
my fabulous house. It's called Flowers in the Gun, and that's I wrote that actually as a sincerity thing, because I was so fed up with all this stuff going on. I said, but I'm not one to really get down and out and fall apart. There's always a way to get out of that mindset and figure a different way of handling things. And that was the end of it is.
Is it very long?
No, it isn't.
You can read it if you'd like.
Oh, okay.
The whole thing?
Flowers in the Gun. The world doesn't need more weapons of destruction. Whatever happened to the old mindset of loving thy neighbor? And the biblical quote, thou shalt not kill. In our current world, we are deeply bitten by the idea of terror around every corner, in every classroom or church pew. We the people need to stop all the craziness. We can't take the guns away. It's too late for that. But we can find peace within ourselves and start replacing bullets with the flowers in the gun.
Nice.
That was short.
That was short.
It was short. I have long ones, but I have long and short. In fact, I got a chat book coming out. It's called Long and Short next month. So it's
long and short of it.
Yeah. And what is that book about? I didn't hear what you said.
Well, they're called a chat book, which is a short.
A chat book. I heard you.
It's under 50 pages.
Yeah.
And it's only like 40 poems, maybe 35 poems.
Oh, okay.
So it's just 44 pages long, but it's called chat book. But the title is a long and short of it. Because there's long poems and short poems. Yeah.
Chanel's telling us she'll be right back. She's cold, so she's got to get a sweater. Well, she lives in Wisconsin now, so.
Oh my gosh.
She's got an excuse.
Yeah, they're ready to get hit again. Those poor people.
Are they really?
Yeah.
This has been a crazy winter.
Tough winter.
Yeah, it has been a tough winter. Weather.
My brother still lives up there in Danbury, Iowa. I call him all the time and brag about our weather. He goes, it's below zero here.
Yeah, his brother lives in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up in the Waukesha area.
Yeah. We went to visit them one time in August, and I had brought just capris and sandals and all that kind of stuff, because we're from Florida. And It was cold. I had to go out and buy jeans and Ugg boots, and I was freezing.
We took the convertible up. We were expecting a nice, nice drive in the country.
Nope. It was freezing. So cold.
Yeah, I couldn't go up there, back up there right now. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'm so acclimated.
Like I said, we've been here almost 26 years. So, our blood is thin.
Yeah, thin, exactly.
We can't do that anymore. All right. I just want to, wait a minute. We have another comment here. Marjorie said you won't make that mistake again,
correct.
Right? Right. I will bring the appropriate clothing, Marjorie.
All of it.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah. Every time we've been there to visit them has been in the summer, and every time it's been freezing. So I'm like, ugh.
It's what you get used to,
It is, because we used to live in Chicago.
Yeah.
I can remember when it would be 11 below zero.
Didn't like it, but
No.
you learn how to live with it,
No.
because you have to.
Well, we have 6 kids, and I used to have to drive them back and
Yeah.
forth to school in the snow, and I didn't like that a lot. Here it's
back in 1980, it got to be with wind chill. It got to be 80 below zero. Back in 1980, it was 60 below actual, 80 below with the wind chill.
Where was that?
I was in Iowa.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not.
That's insane.
The cars would not start. You
No
could not go outside for more than 5 minutes. You had to cover up your face and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And it got to zero and felt like summer.
Yeah, no kidding. Well,
I drove
80
down
degrees warmer.
I'm tired of this. I'm tired of living like this. I drove to Texas the next week. It was
There you
zero.
go.
Drove to Texas and it was 76 degrees that same day.
Chanel says the wind is so high
I
today.
called my wife up. I says, "We're moving."
Yeah. Well, the other day in Alaska, it was 91 degrees below zero.
Oh,
I couldn't believe
That's
that.
insane. It's nuts.
You can't live in that. Joe Conjal said that's why I moved away from Syracuse.
We had that too.
Too cold. Lake effect snow was the worst.
Yeah.
Actually.
I agree.
Chanel says, Larry, you are a hoot.
That's why we have him on. So you've mentioned it before, but I think what's the name of your next Gloria Ramos book?
Little Birds.
That's the one that's coming out. And don't you have another one on the
Little Bird on it? That's coming out.
Don't you have another one on the drawing board though?
I have another one. It's based off of Little Birds. It's actually going to be a sequel to Little Birds.
Oh, well, that'll be the first time you did that in that series, right? Is to have a sequel.
Yeah, that series. The first time I did a sequel.
That's pretty cool.
But it's such a broad story. I thought I wanted, because there's so many people involved in it, you take one of those people and make them go off and do bad things and give Gloria something else to do.
That's the case of your characters deciding that they weren't done.
Right.
They needed a sequel.
And they didn't want to be good anymore.
So George wants to know if you're in Texas now. No, George, he lives here near us.
Right.
He's in the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah.
I know my website says I lived in Texas. I mean, not my website, my LinkedIn says I live in Texas still. It won't let me change it. I don't know why. I can't.
Oh, that's crazy.
Many times to change it won't let me change it.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Who can figure these giants out,
Yeah. All this social media stuff.
Sheesh.
Yeah. It's really, you kind of need a degree in it to navigate around.
You do.
But yeah, Joe, that lake effect snow, that is the worst. And you get that in Chicago too. The lake.
Yeah, Chicago gets it, of course. The lake's right there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Larry, getting pretty close to ending the show, but
it is.
I always like to ask this question, put you on the spot a little bit, and just a short answer is fine. What advice would you have for a new writer, somebody that hasn't really ventured out yet and is kind of afraid to get going?
Don't be afraid. I mean, well, we're all afraid. I'm still afraid. But fear drives me, and just the fear of unknowing, it fascinates me.
So don't let the fear stop you from jumping out into the water.
If it does stop you, don't forget to start back up.
Yeah.
But mainly is to get an idea of what you want to do, why you want to do it. And once you figure that out, if you really want to do it, but it takes commitment. It's not something, it's not made, there's less than 1% of people in the whole world that write a book. 1%, less than 1%. And actually do it from beginning to end and get it published. That's amazing because you're doing something the majority of the population of the world doesn't do. That makes it unique. Plus, you get to leave a legacy, something behind.
This is what Chanel has to say, and this is really wonderful, Chanel. She
Oh,
said she
wow.
bought a Kindle just for all the amazing authors you have had on. I read their books during chemotherapy. That's
Aw.
great, Chanel.
That's awesome.
I hope your chemotherapy is going well. And that's great. I'm glad that, the authors can help you like that. And I'm sure they're all really happy to know that. We have
this neighbor across the street has cancer, and she wasn't expected to live, but she's still kicking. She's still kicking, and she's actually doing good because they found some new medicines that help her along. But she's always smiling, always. I wrote a poem about it called "Smile," because she always has this. No matter how bad she feels, come home from chemo, it makes you. I guess it's bad stuff. And does poison. So, but she's always smiling, has good things to say, positive things to say. So if she can do it, I can do it. And she motivates me. Yeah.
Well, Chanel has an autistic son, and she works, and she's always here, and she's a wonderful person. Let's just go through your books real quickly again. I want to remind everybody, Larry Yoke, Possum Kingdom, true story about a murder, but it has a fictional end. Broke Girl, also by Larry Yoke, also based on a true story, but
several true
stories, but also fictionalized.
Sure.
And Insentient is the third one in it by Larry Yoke, also based on a true story. And soon, coming out soon, is Little Birds.
When will that actually be out?
Well, it's the publisher's got to tell me that.
Okay, all right. No date here. Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Chanel says, "Oh, thank you, Joan. You're welcome. I'm really glad that it's helping you, Chanel. That makes
that's amazing. People can go through that kind of stuff. I'm glad I'm healthy. I'm very healthy.
And all of our authors are helping her. I think that's amazing.
That is amazing.
And wonderful. And that should make all the authors really happy, because that's, we write for people, right? We write for our readers.
I do it for myself. I do it for other people too. I mean,
right.
Exactly.
You want to share this stuff.
Yep.
You don't want to keep it to yourself. There's no fun in that. So.
Well, we've really reached the end of the hour, believe it or not, guys.
Oh, the other book, Second Chances.
Second Chance, Crossing Rivers.
And Word Paintings.
And there are more. Go on his website.
Yeah.
There are more.
Yeah, there's more.
Yep.
There's more.
All righty then. Let's see here. Okay. Well, we will move you over. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
And my pleasure. And their pleasure. I'm glad those people joined us.
Hold on to your seat there for a minute. There we go. I got you moved over. Okay.
And thank you to our audience and all of your comments. We love your comments. And Joe Conjal says, "Great show as always. Enjoyed it." Thank you, Joe. We enjoyed it too. We enjoy you guys, the audience. You're amazing.
Love the participation.
We do.
Keep those cards and letters and comments going.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you have anything you would like to talk about? No? Okay. Here you go. The latest thing in our store. You can't find him because he's at home reading.
And for those of you that are listening on the podcast, it's a coffee mug with Bigfoot on it.
Right.
That's why you can't find him. Chanel said, "I'll also put you on my Amazon following list, sorry, so I can get the newest book as soon as it's released." Yay!
Hey,
good idea.
That's a good idea.
Follow.
Uh-huh.
Wow, thank you.
Another show and tell. My granddaughter made a little me out of Lego.
Yeah, that is you.
Yeah. You there?
That's many you.
Very many.
Very many.
Oh, many.
And her brother was making one of me.
Right.
But he needed to take a break because he couldn't figure out what to have me wear.
Got to be wearing the right thing, Okay, next, let's see. The next show will be Saturday, episode Rewind, where it's the first UK Authors Night Rewind
Oh, cool.
with Jan Domagala
Yeah.
and Thomas Eyre.
Yeah.
And that was a great show.
That was
They stayed up late.
show.
They were live
God bless
when
them.
we did it. And they're still alive, I'm sure. But we did have, they were on the show live, and they stayed up late to do it. So
Joe says your own mini-me. Love it.
my own. Anyway, that was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. Oh, stay tuned and watch the where did it go? Here it is, right here. The Rochester Parafest lineup is coming up, and then the saying
One
goodbye.
more comment. Chanel said, they were awesome. I stayed up late watching LOL.
they were. You remember
they
that
were
one?
so good.
That's
That was a good, that Tom was funny, wasn't he, Chanel? He was, I mean, he said some things that I was just like, oh my gosh, because I asked him a question and I probably shouldn't have asked that because he answered it.
And yes, George, next week is, but Saturday we're doing the episode rewinds at 5:30 p.m. right here. So you can watch all the old, we're doing them one at a time as we go through.
But next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, yes, I was going to mention that to you. The episode 46 is our first anniversary show.
And George will be on it.
George will be on it. Paul Paulus, Caleb Pirtle, and Linda Pirtle, and Orlando Sanchez. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to give away merchandise and books and just have some fun. We'll probably go much longer than the hour that we normally do because we got a lot of ground to cover.
So tune in because we're giving away free merchandise,
free stuff,
and free books. So
stuff you're going to like.
Yeah.
Okay.
We think you like.
We hope you like. Tune in anyway. You never know until you try. So until next time.
That's all, folks. We love
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DB.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.